think there's anybody in this world who really believes that they're beautiful?
RuPaul.
You got mail.
Do you remember the 90s?
Come on, Uncle Phil, this is the 90s, man.
Man, it's the 90s. It's hammer time. Come on.
It's the 90s, remember? Microchips, microwaves, faxes, earphones.
Ma, it's the 90s. You can call it what it is.
Yada, yada, yada.
I can be anything I want to be. It's the 90s.
What, are you nuts? This is the 90s. We're gonna sue you.
Wake up and smell the 90s.
That was awesome.
Well, thank you. So this is our official intro now. So
Yeah.
welcome to...
Dave and Cheryl in the 90s.
That's right. Dave and Cheryl in the 90s, our inaugural episode.
Yep. And so we're going to give you an idea of why we wanted to start this. Well, my idea was...
Yeah, this is definitely your idea. None of this would be happening if I was on board with this. This is
So like many, many people during the recent pandemic, we got very into watching RuPaul's Drag Race. And I was very interested by the fact that many of the younger participants in the show had no sense of pop culture beyond their immediate understanding. So, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. And then I thought, well, who's teaching them? And the answer is nobody. So this podcast is designed to teach younger people about the 90s or, you know, for nostalgia for people our age and older.
That sounds like a lot of responsibility.
It is a lot of responsibility. So yeah, the phrase that I came up with is the memories are ours, the information is approximate.
Hey.
So
this is why she's running the ship,
yeah,
folks.
That's where we're coming from. So I decided that our first episode was going to be about RuPaul. Because a lot of people know RuPaul, very, very famous, probably the most famous drag queen in the world. But a lot of people don't know who he was prior to Drag Race. So we're going to introduce you to RuPaul.
And I'm looking forward to hearing all about this. I have a very small amount of knowledge when it comes to RuPaul in the 90s outside of, I think, everyone with Supermodel.
Yeah. Is that the only thing you know about RuPaul in the 90s?
I think that was the quote-unquote coming out of RuPaul to mainstream culture.
Yes.
But no, other than that, I know at one point that she was in had a cable access program, which I heard about.
I believe that was in the 80s.
That was in the 80s. Then scrap that. Forget it. Put it on the editing floor.
Forget it. So to begin with, in 1989, so just before the 90s, she was in the music video for Love Shack by the B-52s. So that was one of the
was she a background dancer of some sort in it?
But she's also a 6'7" drag queen, so she's fairly noticeable. And then her debut single, Supermodel of the World, came out in 1993.
You better work.
At that point, I don't think I knew even what a drag queen was, to be perfectly honest.
I remember being very confused because it wasn't sort of part of the culture, having drag queens.
Certainly not like it is now.
Yeah, she was pretty much the only one, so it was a little bit confusing. And you would only see her dressed in drag, and then very occasionally you'd see her as a man.
I always thought that RuPaul was actually a woman to begin with, to be perfectly honest. I didn't understand the idea of drag. I thought that when I first saw RuPaul that it was just a club kid, like it was a manly-ish girl or a very large woman. Yes, large woman.
Yeah, RuPaul also did a Christmas Ball TV special in 1993.
So set the scene. Where are we? We went 93
was sort of the explosion,
and that was Supermodel.
Yeah.
Right.
Then she became like a cameo queen, where she would appear in all kinds of different movies. So she was in Crooklyn, Spike Lee's Crooklyn.
No, I've seen Crooklyn so many times. Are you telling what part is?
I don't know. I've never seen Crooklyn.
All right. Insert clip here.
I ain't no puta. I'm Connie. I keep my panty clean. Oh, come on, Connie. No, Tito. You crazy.
Have you seen Crooklyn?
No, I said I just
What type of researcher are we talking about here? So wonderful film, Spike Lee.
I've seen the Brady Bunch movie, which is another film that she was in.
Okay.
And that one I do have a clip for.
So, Jan, what can I help you with? Teen pregnancy, bulimia, suicidal tendencies?
So she also appeared in Tu Wong Fu, which makes sense. It's a movie about drag queens. Probably the first movie, certainly, that I remember that was like mainstream Hollywood drag queens.
All right. As a lady, Patrick Swayze. Any ratings there?
I mean, he's very masculine.
Are you a buns woman? He's got good buns.
I guess.
And Wesley Snipes. I mean, was it Wesley Snipes?
And John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. John
Leguizamo.
There you go. I'm not going to say a lot of people weren't laughing because it was guys in dresses, but for the most part, that legitimized to a lot of people. I think it was that in a smaller thing later on, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like the two kind of popular gay films for a while.
Well, drag films in particular. Now, one of the popular gay films was But I'm a Cheerleader, which RuPaul was also in. So I think a lot of the films that she ended up being in sort of had that as part of the theme. She's also in Ed TV.
I've never seen.
I've seen it once. I don't remember RuPaul in Ed TV.
I remember that being the sacrificial lamb when they pitted up against the Truman Show.
The Truman, which is a much superior film.
Yes.
So RuPaul did a bunch of movies, also did a bunch of TV appearances, and I'm going to show you some.
Not yet. They're so ugly.
Holy crap, this is Nash Bridges.
Sure is.
So you knew these girls from Polk Street?
Every single one of them. And they are scared down there.
Simone Dubois, also Cortez.
Enchanté.
So what we're getting from this clip is that Nash Bridges was one of the things that bridged the acceptance of the drag community to mainstream America, because I watched about every episode of Nash Bridges. I've seen that episode at some point.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, for sure. I came off of Walker, Texas Ranger and then went on the Nash Bridges.
Well, she's also on Walker, Texas Ranger. Yeah. Could not find that clip, though.
Oh.
I know. I'm sorry.
I never, ever more wanted to see a two-shot with Chuck Norris.
So she was also on Veronica's Closet.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
With Kirstie Alley and Kathy Najimy. Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That I have seen.
Oh, you have seen that?
I have seen that. Were you going to pull up a clip all of a sudden with her?
You know what? I don't know if I have that one.
I'd say more so than even seeing her acting against Chuck Norris. I'd love to see her acting against an animated animatronic cat.
Yeah. She was on an episode of Ellen, which is not surprising. An episode of Sister Sister, which I do have a clip of, with Jackie.
Excuse me, I'd like to speak to Marjay.
I am she.
Well, I am me. Lisa Landry, designer of haute couture.
Oh, what house are you with?
The House of Pancakes?
So yeah, basically she had cameos in a lot of the 90s. She was also in the first episode of season 19 of Saturday Night Live. Oh, one of the other main things that she did that was pretty mainstream is she did MAC ads, MAC Cosmetics. She's the first drag queen or man to be in a MAC ad. MAC ads, like MAC was big in the 90s for makeup. Oh, 1995. Here is a great clip. All My Children.
Okay, people.
Susan Lucci, right?
Yeah.
Second half, so you can wait.
Apparently she has a talk show on All My Children. Erica Kane has a talk show.
Erica, who is that queen over there in serious need of a makeover?
So, yep, she was on All My Children back in 1995. Also, she wrote a book, Letting It All Hang Out, in 1995. She's written books recently.
She had already written a book. I was about to say, I didn't know. I knew she had written a few books, but that early. Wow.
Yeah, she's written several books, especially recently. And her recent autobiography is very good. But this one is called Let It All Hang Out from 1995. I think during most of the 90s, she also co-hosted a radio show on WKTU with Michelle Visage, who we are familiar with. So in the 80s, she was very much like a club kid trying to figure out what she was doing. based on like reading her recent autobiography, she kind of like came out. She didn't come out obviously late, but she was in her 30s before she became famous.
Now, was RuPaul always doing drag?
Well, in the 80s, RuPaul was a club kid and did like sort of genderqueer drag, where it was a lot more punk and genderfuck. And it wasn't till she realized that doing like high glam and using her like sort of absurd Barbie proportions that she came into the mainstream, because she had the capacity to do like high drama glamour drag.
She didn't play up in the stereotypes either. Gay people had been on television up to this point. You're talking about Paul Lynde. You're talking about the characters, lots of limp wrists, lots of lisps.
Well, but also a lot of like exaggerated makeup. She was certainly exaggerated, but her makeup was glam. It was glamorous. It wasn't grotesque. So here is the clip that I promised you.
Let me tell you, we're definitely lucky to be here tonight to witness one of those rare occasions when television offers a perfect moment of closure. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Television and Miss Thang, Milton Berle, and RuPaul.
So this is the MTV Video Music Awards.
I was about to compliment RuPaul. That's beautiful. I love that gown. I love that gown.
You should, Queen. It's one of your old ones.
You know, RuPaul, 40 years ago, seriously, 40 years ago, when I was on TV, I used to wear gowns myself.
Is that right? You used to wear gowns, and that's funny. Now you wear diapers.
Yeah. If you want to ad lib, I'll check my brains. We'll start even.
So Milton Berle is dead and has been for a while now.
Milton Berle had to have at least been almost 90 in that clip.
Probably. He was pretty old.
I mean, my God.
Was he vaudeville or no?
He could have been vaudeville when he was younger, but I know he was definitely a radio guy. Yeah. And he was literally known as Mr. Television. He was the first person who ever had, I believe it was Texaco, or as the sponsor, like the Texan Milton Berle, like Texaco variety show of some sort. But his big claim to fame that everyone really got off on, that he really loved, was when he would come out in drag. Right. And that just was rip-roaring comedy
that was the context
in the 50s.
For this clip, and why it was sort of amusing that they had the most famous contemporary drag queen with one of the original drag performers on television.
That's how it was supposed to go off. And then
he got grumpy.
Oh my God, he was ready. He was Don Rickles-ing it the entire time at the beginning, telling people to shut up. And then like RuPaul seemed like he was not having this. Mm-hmm. The diapers line was amazing.
Right. Well, RuPaul's quick.
Yeah.
So you never get things past her.
I would have loved to have seen what it was like after that. I'm pretty sure they did not speak with each other afterwards.
Oh, hold on. So this is after the show. This is the press room after the show.
Well, a lot of the bad jokes were scripted by Uncle Milty. And I don't know why they paired me with him. I think it's so tired that it's like the obvious. It's just tired, Give me something, Fred. I thought this was going to be a music revolution. Hey,
so no love lost with Uncle Milty and RuPaul.
No, it's tired. So then he ended the 1990s with his own show on VH1 that I believe you've seen. I haven't seen because they didn't.
Is this the talk show?
The talk show,
yeah. We used to watch it in college. I went to college in like 98 to 2001, and we used to watch that all the time.
Well, Michelle Visage was a co-host, so there's the two of them.
But we've been on the air for quite a while now, and it's hard for me to fathom the idea that America gets to see us like it's on all day long and at night.
Single day.
It's just I wonder what the repercussions of this in America. I mean, there are little boys running around saying, "Mommy, I want to be just like RuPaul."
RuPaul would show up basically wherever they would let her show up. And talk shows were huge in the 90s. And there was nobody bigger than Oprah. So here is the RuPaul Oprah clip.
So really it's about the truth of who you are, and this is the truth, one aspect of who you are.
Absolutely. I'm many things. In fact, I am even more than this. These bodies that house our souls are really just temporary, like this outfit. It's just flesh. Stuff. We are so incredible. We're an extension of the power that created the whole universe.
The only other thing in the 90s that apparently RuPaul was part of is developing World of Wonder.
I mean, if you're going to make something, own it.
Exactly. In 1991, with Randy Barbado and Fenton Bailey, they made the production company World of Wonder, which went on to, it did all kinds of stuff, but now produces all of the RuPaul's Drag Race series all over the world. So that was the origin of that. I mean, 2008 was when the show started. So, I mean, I suppose if we had an additional spin-off podcast about the 2000s, we could talk about that decade. But this decade was effectively RuPaul's 30s. I think was a yes man, a yes drag queen, would do whatever was asked in order to gain attention, gain exposure, and I guess gain acceptance.
Fame and notoriety.
Yeah. And my memory of RuPaul was not tremendous. I think, whatchamacallit, the Supermodel of the World was for sure the thing that stood out the most to me. But these movies and shows are ones that I certainly watched and would be like, oh, yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, and they were extremely mainstream. I mean, you don't get any more mainstream and like 4-quadrant than the Brady Bunch movie.
Exactly.
It's truly a testament to RuPaul in the sense that why she was successful when others weren't, because she had a work ethic.
I think a work ethic was a huge part of it, because there were other drag queens that we now know about in relation to RuPaul who grew up with them and developed in the same areas. But I think she really pushed as far into the mainstream as she could get.
I think she's done an amazing amount of work to not only acceptance, but to allow people to understand there's a spectrum of queerness, opposed to just the ones that you can essentially are created just to be mocked.
And stereotypes, yeah.
So how do we get out of this?
I don't know. Bye.
Do you have an outro? I mean, you have to...
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Maybe episode 2 will have an outro.
Mm-hmm. I have something to send us out on. So why don't you give us at least a thank you for listening to our inaugural episode. It will only get better.
Thank you for listening to our inaugural episode. Hopefully we will gain skills and make these even better and more entertaining and informative.
So for now, I'm David.
And I'm Cheryl. And the 90s.
And girl, you better work.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else?
Got a favorite 90s moment or topic you want us to dive into? We'd love to hear about it. If you think we got everything wrong, we'd love to hear about that too. Drop us an email at andthe90spod@gmail.com, link in the episode description, and you can be damn sure that we'll read your comments on the show. Also, if you're digging the show, please rate, comment, subscribe, and tell everyone you know to check us out. It really does make a difference. Till next time, remember, we're nostalgia for the olds and education for the youths.